So, Kim Davis supporters have complained a lot about the court order to have her sign marriage licenses for same-sex couples. Now, she says that that's against her faith. So, pretty much she thinks doing her job is against her freedom of religion. Now, contrasted to this, a story of an Albuquerque woman who was recently ordered by a judge to attend sessions with a Christian counselor. Now, this woman, according to KRQE Channel 13, is named Holly Salzman, and she sought court aid in co-parenting her 11-year-old sons with their father, from whom she is, of course, divorced. Now, this judge had ordered a set of 10 sessions with a counselor by the name of Mary Pepper. Okay. So, by the way, before I get into further in the story, the judge did order these 10 sessions, and if she didn't go through with these sessions, she would be facing contempt of court charges. So naturally, Salzman went. Now, when she went, she decided she saw some. Now, when she went, she noticed some red flags. Quote, "I walked into the session, and the very first thing she said to me was, 'I start my sessions by praying.'" Okay. Now, when she said, when I expressed my concerns that I didn't pray, she said, "Well, this is what I do," and proceeded to say a prayer out loud. Okay. Now, Salzman was uncomfortable. Since she's not a religious person, she's like, that's a little weird. All right, I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable here. But because the court sessions are court mandated, she said, look, I don't have a choice. You do it or you're held in contempt of court. Okay. So because of that, she went. But she says that she felt for the court to order her to a Christian counselor, well, that happened to be a violation of the separation of church and state. She feels very strongly about the separation of church and state. And so she's like, I really don't like that there was a court order ordering me to this Christian counselor. I don't like that. And after the first session, she contacted family court and left a message that expressed her concerns. Now, what happened, right? Well, I assume they went and solved that problem, right? Separation of church and state is very important. And people's religious rights, even if they don't have a religion, are very important in America, right? Wrong. She never heard anything back in regards to her concerns. Now, she went to a second session, and immediately, despite her misgivings, Pepper still opened with a prayer. Despite the misgivings of Salzman. Despite the discomfort of Salzman. Huh. Well, now, after that, she went back to court. Quote, I went back to court. I expressed my concerns about this, again, about the religious overtones, and they stated that they hadn't heard any problems concerning Mary Pepper with religion. Huh. Well, that could be because 70% of Americans are Christians. They identify with the Christian religion. Now, if you're in that religion, you don't mind a few religious overtones. That's fine. It's like, oh, it's my faith. All right. And also, you're not going to hear that when Christians make a majority of your clients. Now, since no one was listening to her concerns, she decided, look, I'm obviously very uncomfortable going to these sessions. And she's going to sit there and pray and bring everything back to God. And I'm going to get into, it's not just about opening with a prayer. There are other religious overtones, which I'm going to get into. And because of those religious overtones, she decided to stop going. Now, when she said that she was offended and disgusted, she told the TV station that she was offended and disgusted, and that because she didn't go, because of those reasons, the court decided to take away her children. She said, it's probably the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. Understandable. I'm not a parent, but I could only understand, I could only guess at how terrible that would feel to have your children taken away from you. Now, in order to regain custody of her children, Salzman was ordered to complete the sessions. Yeah, either finish these religious sessions or go without your kids. Oh boy. Now, she decided that she was going to suck it up and go, right? However, in order to bring attention to this and the fact that her religious objections were ignored by the court, she decided to partner with a local news station to record some of these sessions on the down low. Now, one of these sessions, and what really got under Salzman's skin about these, is that, well, the religious overtones. And let me give you an example of one of these recorded meetings and how religious it really was. Quote, "The meaning of my life is to know, love, and serve God. If you want to explore how God was in your past, how God was in your life and not in your life, I know you don't believe in God, which is fine, but I know at some points he was in your life in some way." And she was given a homework assignment to write an essay titled, "Who is God to Me?" Quote, "Every session there was some sort of religion that was intertwined with the sessions." Now, when Channel 13 spoke to her about blending religion with the court-ordered sessions, she said, "Look, I'm a private business, right? That decides that people decide to come through or not. This particular person there was not interested, or was interested in analyzing her belief system." Well, no, it seemed like she wasn't interested at all. That she was very uncomfortable with all the religion being shoved in her face, and that she was forced to go into it. As I said, look, if that's the way she wants to run her business, Miss Pepper, that's fine. You know, people can voluntarily go. The problem is that the court had ordered her to go through this. She did not have a choice, which violated her deeply held religious beliefs. The fact that she had none. It was still a violation, and that is illegal. It is against the First Amendment. Now, there were other issues found with Pepper's practices as well. She was holding sessions in the rooms of the public library, but still charging clients for the sessions. Now, that itself is also illegal. Salzman said, quote, "She had actually explained to me that you need to be discreet about it because I'm not allowed to exchange money in the public library. So I had to kind of hide the money and then literally pass the money under the table." Ooh. Now, when Channel 13 actually asked her about this, Pepper, she said, "I think this interview needs to be ended. I think we need to end the interview. If you'd like to know more in private, I'll explain a lot about my business, but to do this on air, well, that's just not appropriate. That's just not appropriate. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I don't want to talk about this because I'm obviously breaking the law." Oh boy. Now, what happened to Salzman? Did she get her kids back? Actually, she did. She ended up completing the classes and getting your children back. Now, the difference between this and Kim Davis, as I keep going back to, is that Davis had a choice. She had several options available to her. She either do her job, right, or resign. However, she chose neither. And besides, what she was doing is denying someone else rights under the Constitution. What Pepper was doing, and the court, was violating the Constitution. And so was not signing those marriage certificates for not only same-sex couples, but for all couples that go through her office. That's what the difference is here. This woman did what she had to do. And she was actually exposing a violation in the separation of church and state, where Kim Davis wants to violate the separation of church and state by bringing her religion into a federal public workplace. See the difference? If you don't, you might be part of the problem.